Night listener. Tonight we enter the shadows. The rain falls in slow motion, as if even time is hesitant to step into what waits ahead. Dim streetlights flicker like unreliable witnesses, casting orange halos onto the slick pavement. A siren wails in the distance, but it's not coming for you at least. Not yet. You step out of your car, the soles of your shoes kissing the wet asphalt with reluctant resolve. There's something unnatural about the air, something waiting. A line of yellow tape flutters like nervous breath. Beyond it, a body lies beneath a blue tarp, but you already know the face, even before you see it. The detective beside you mutters a greeting you barely hear. Your eyes are drawn instead to the detail others missed. Her shoes are dry, bone dry, but everything else hair, clothes, hands drenched. She didn't die here. She was placed here, and that's not what gets you. What gets you is the expression. Even under death's hush, her lips are parted in a half smile, something between a secret and a dare. You kneel beside the body. There's a smudge of red on her neck. Lipstick paint blood, no? It's the kind of red that only comes from wax. A seal, a broken seal. You glance around. You knew, but pretended you didn't. That's how these stories always start. Then, the glove. It's an old riding glove, soft leather, damp with rain, dangling from her right wrist, but the thumb is meant for the left. Wrong hand, wrong message, left behind on purpose. A signal, a reversal, and just like that, the body stops being a victim and starts being a message. You stand, slowly, like a man being watched. The feeling creeps in the footsteps behind you that don't match your rhythm. The tension that isn't yours, but still tightens your chest, and that whisper in your skull. She knew you would come. You look up toward the buildings, searching for faces in the windows. No one's there, but someone was. You don't trust the way the street curves, leading your gaze away from where it should be. You don't trust the way the city keeps its secrets in shadows deeper than night. A memory stirs, her face in a photo, torn edges. A warning you once dismissed as paranoia now flickers like a headline at the edge of your mind. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You tighten your coat, take one step back, then another. You shouldn't have come alone. A voice behind you says, ready when you are. But it's not your partner. And when you turn, no one's there. You don't move at first, because stillness is safer than being wrong. There's no one behind you. Not anymore. But the echo of the voice, the tone crawls up your spine like cold breath in a dark room. Familiar, but wrong. Like hearing your name whispered in a dream and realizing you've been speaking someone else's. You step back across the police line, ducking beneath the yellow tape like it's a portal you're not quite ready to cross. The detective Rodriguez maybe says something about forensics, timeline, weather distortion, but you're not listening. Your focus is on the small brown envelope just delivered into your hand. No label, no return address, but you know the handwriting on the back for you. No one else. Inside, a photograph. She's alive in it, sitting at a chessboard. The queen is gone, but her eyes are locked on the bishop. A mirror stands behind her, cracked, just like the one from that apartment on Thorn Street, back when you still believed in motive, in clean truths. She knew what the camera would capture. She posed for this. The reflection behind her doesn't show the room, it shows you. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The memory hits like a whisper, wrapped in a scream. You were there that night, not on Thorn Street. Before that, the fundraiser, the argument, the envelope that never made it to internal affairs. Someone else knew, too, and they wanted you to remember. You flip the photo. One sentence, scrawled in red. The reason isn't buried. It's watching. Rodriguez calls your name. Something about time of death. You pocket the photo and nod like you care, like you're still on their side of the mystery. But the moment you turn back toward the alley, you see it. A key, hanging from the fire escape above the body. Rusted, swinging, almost, rhythmic, not dropped, hung. Another symbol, another message. It's not her key. It's yours, the one you lost 5 years ago. Right after your testimony locked up a man who swore he was innocent. The one you buried behind the precinct in a rusted tin, under 2 inches of concrete and guilt. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You blink once, twice. The key is still swinging. Then a voice, far off, from the mouth of the alley. Detective. You step into the dark before anyone sees your face. The alley swallows you whole. Sound dies here. The distant police chatter, the city's hum, the scrape of rubber on pavement, all muted behind brick and shadow. You've walked into these back corridors of truth before, but never with your past dangling overhead like a rusted key-shaped threat. You reach for the fire escape, fingertips brushing cold metal. The key isn't just yours, it's exactly yours. Same grooves, same chipped edge where you forced it into the wrong lock the night you were too drunk to remember where you lived. It's aged, but not lost. Someone's been keeping it. It was never about the truth, it was about control. You slide the key off its hook. The second your fingers close around it, a street lamp at the alley's mouth flickers. You freeze. The light shudders like it's flinching from what's about to happen. Something metallic crunches beneath your shoe. You step back and see a voice recorder. One of those old school ones detectives still use when they're trying to avoid the cloud. It's been stepped on twice, maybe, but the red light's still blinking. You press play. A hiss, then her voice. I wasn't supposed to see it, but I did. And now they'll say, I deserved it. Then, silence. Not static, intentional silence, as if she stopped herself. You know that rhythm, that kind of unfinished sentence. That's what she used to do when she didn't trust the room, when she needed to confess but couldn't afford the confession. A symbol, a warning, a trap. You rewind, play it again. Same pause, but this time you notice something beneath the silence, a clock ticking. Not digital, analog, sharp, mechanical. You reach into your coat pocket. That old photo from earlier, she's sitting at a chessboard. Remember? There's a clock in that image. 2. It reads 10:14. You check your phone. It's 10:14 now. Your breath catches. Not because of the time, but because behind her in that photo, in the cracked mirror, there's something else. A figure. You never saw it before, but now you do. A man in a coat, watching her, watching you. You knew, but pretended you didn't. A memory slams into you like glass. 5 years ago, your desk, the envelope you never sent. You shredded half of it, thinking the rest was harmless, but the shredder jammed. You told yourself you'd finish it later. You didn't. Someone did, and they pieced it back together. You slide the recorder into your pocket, hand trembling, the photograph, the key, the voice. None of this is random. This is personal. This is someone reminding you that no secret stays buried. Not forever. You step out of the alley, blending into the blue and red pulse of squad car lights. You don't tell Rodriguez about the photo, or the key, or the voice. Instead, you ask to see the body again. The sheet is pulled back. It's not her. You should feel relief. But you don't, because someone made sure this body was found. Someone wanted it confused for her. And now you're asking yourself the question that's kept you up every night since you buried that file. What if you've been the suspect all along? The morgue is colder than you remember. Not just cold in the bones, but in the soul. A place where secrets wear tags on their toes and confessions are kept on ice. You stare at the body again, this time looking for something you missed. The hair almost the same shade, the jawline close, but it's not her. You're sure of it now, and that makes it worse. You pull the photo from your coat again. Her, at the chessboard. The analog clock behind her frozen at 10:14. A cracked mirror to her left, and just beyond that mirror, a blurred man in a coat. You enlarge the image with your fingers, smoothing it along the edge of your phone screen. The blur sharpens just enough, and now you wish it hadn't. It's you. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Rodriguez leans over your shoulder. Friend of yours. You pull the photo down fast. Hard to say. It's an old image. Might be a composite. She doesn't believe you. You don't blame her. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. She gives you space, but not distance. She's watching now like you're the crime scene. You ask her for the victim's belongings. She hesitates, then opens a drawer. You reach inside and pull out a broken watch, its face shattered, frozen at 10:14. A glove left hand only, black leather, inside out, damp, a torn page from a book, a line underlined in red. There is no greater silence than the one we scream inside ourselves. You remember that book. You gave it to her. Her silence isn't silence. It's a message. It was never about the truth. It was about control. The watch, the clock in the photo, the ticking on the tape, they're all the same. They are all pointing to something or someone trying to synchronize pain across time. You pocket the torn page and the glove, but the glove, it's familiar, not hers, yours. The threading on the inner lining is unique. You had it tailored. You lost it years ago, swore it slipped out on a train, swore you didn't care, but someone found it. And now they're returning all your sins in small, timed doses. You leave the morgue, heart pounding like a guilty verdict. The city breathes around you wet, thick with the scent of metal and regret. You slide behind the wheel of your car and close the door too softly. You're afraid anything louder might crack what's left of your composure. You pull out the glove again. Inside, something's stitched behind the label. A name, yours, but not just that. A second name, the one you used on the sealed files. The identity you made up when you sent that anonymous tip all those years ago. The tip that led to her arrest and her silence. You whisper it aloud, testing its weight. It lands like a confession on the windshield, and in the side mirror, a shadow moves, not just passing, not just watching, waiting. The glove falls from your hand. You reach for the ignition, but freeze. On the windshield, written in fog, not the time, a date. October 14th, today. You turn to look, but the sidewalk's empty now. But that's the thing, isn't it? Empty isn't safe. Empty means they've already been here. The drive back to your apartment is soaked in unease. Streetlights blink like warning signs. The city is watching, listening. You grip the wheel, knuckles pale against the leather. Your mind replaying every moment you thought you'd buried deep enough. You take the long route home, not out of caution, but because you're afraid of what might already be waiting for you. The moment you step into your building's lobby, the air thickens. The night doorman, usually asleep with sports radio humming in his ears, is wide awake, and he won't meet your eyes. You nod at him. He nods back, slowly. Something's shifted. Upstairs, your apartment door is unlocked, not open, just no longer locked. You push it inward with the tip of your shoe. Nothing creaks. No welcome mat to trip over. No flicker of lights. Just quiet. That kind of quiet that feels earned. Like someone pressed mute on a scream. Your eyes scan for anything out of place. And then you see it. On the kitchen table, your old recorder. You haven't used it in a decade. Not since the last witness interview before the case went cold. The one you never filed. The one that could have changed everything. You press play. Her voice crackles through the speaker. Steady, brittle, timeless. He said, I didn't have to speak, so I didn't. But silence, detective, is a language too. The tape warps time, skipping like a nervous heartbeat. If you're hearing this, it means I've decided not to be silent anymore. You were supposed to protect me. Instead, you buried me under your own guilt. You stopped the tape. A ticking clock on your bookshelf grabs your attention. Not a real one, just a cheap novelty shaped like an eye. You never noticed it ticking before, but now it is. Tick, tick, tick. You walk to it and lift it off the shelf. Behind it, a photograph is taped to the wall. It's her, again. Same chessboard. Only this time she's not playing. She's standing, looking right into the camera, holding something in her hand. A key, the kind you recognize instantly. You still keep its twin in your desk drawer. It belongs to a storage locker 2 cities over, one you haven't opened in nearly 11 years. You don't remember telling her about it, but somehow she knew. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You sit down, staring at the photo, the recorder still hissing softly behind you, and then it hits you. The date in the corner of the photograph, 10/14, but the photo was printed, not digital, which means someone developed it, handled it, delivered it, recently. The silence has teeth now. You open the drawer, pull out the matching key, and slip it into your coat pocket. Before you leave, you glance at the cracked mirror hanging near the door. Not just cracked, fractured in a way that almost mimics spider legs. You stare at your reflection, but you don't trust it, because something in the mirror blinks that you didn't. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You step into the hallway, down the stairs, into the cold. You're not hunting answers anymore. You're chasing the version of yourself that left too many questions behind. You drive toward the storage facility like it's the only place left that hasn't turned against you. It's tucked behind a shuttered bowling alley and a strip mall that forgot what it was selling. The kind of place where secrets go to gather dust and wait for someone with shaky hands to come dig them up. The rain follows you all the way, a steady percussion against the windshield, like impatient fingers tapping out a warning. You park under a flickering floodlight. It hums as if remembering your face. The locker number is still burned into your brain, B17. The key feels heavier in your palm than it ever used to, like memory soaked in lead. You step inside the main hallway of the facility, rows of metal doors, all silent, all holding stories they were never meant to share. Your footsteps echo as if someone else is walking just behind you. At B17, the lock resists for a second. Then it clicks. You lift the rolling door and smell old wood, mildew, and something else. Something sharp and sour, like regret left too long in the dark. The space is mostly empty, except for a single wooden chest in the center of the floor. Your breath fogs in the cold air. You hesitate just once, then crouch and flip the latch. Inside are remnants of your past life, Photographs from cases that bled into each other. A broken watch. One leather glove. But underneath it all, you find something you didn't put there. A sealed manila envelope. No label. No postage. No fingerprints. Just one word scrawled across it in red ink. Again, you stare at the word. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You open the envelope. Inside a photograph of a young girl standing in a courthouse hallway. You recognize the wallpaper, the echo. You took that photo yourself on a day you swore you wouldn't forget. But the back has a date that doesn't make sense. 2 weeks ago? Impossible. She was a witness in a closed case. You signed the file yourself. She was relocated, protected. The second photo is worse. It shows you outside your apartment. Yesterday, you're looking up at your window, but in the photo, your reflection in the glass doesn't match your stance. Your reflection is staring straight at the camera. The cracked mirror flashes in your mind. You drop the photos and hear the sound before you see it. Click. Behind you, you turn slowly. The hallway light outside the unit goes dark, one by one. Each bulb hums, then sizzles out. You back up into the locker, fingers brushing against the leather glove in the chest. You clutch it instinctively. It's still damp, not from rain, from blood. You don't remember why. You don't remember when. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The lock clicks again, this time from the inside. Your first instinct is to reach for your phone, but it's not in your pocket. You always carry it. Always. Unless someone else put your jacket back on the hook this morning. You're locked inside now. B-17's metal door slammed down so silently it must have been engineered for moments exactly like this. Your flashlight is all you've got, and the shadows eat the beam before it can reach the far corner of the unit. You scan the space again, slower this time. There's something behind the chest now, a silhouette. No movement, just stillness, so confident it feels like a threat. You freeze. Your breath shortens, keys. You wait for the shape to blink, to shift, to reveal itself. But it just is. You back up toward the corner, passing your fingers along the corrugated walls, counting the dents like they're braille for a message you've missed for years. Then the smell changes. Ozone, like metal scraped too fast, or electricity pulled from wires not meant to bend. You remember a detail from an old case, the way a body smells seconds before the electricity in a taser hits. Burned copper and adrenaline. You flick your flashlight downward. The glove in your hand isn't yours anymore. It's smaller, torn at the cuff, monogrammed inside. 2 letters you haven't spoken in a decade, C.J. You drop it like it burned you. You buried C.J. You remember the trial, the closed casket, the mother who didn't cry, the man who walked free. You testified. You swore you saw what happened. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Then behind you a scrape, not footsteps, something dragged. You spin, and your flashlight catches the reflection of a mirror propped against the wall. You see yourself, but the mirror sees something else. You're not holding the flashlight. You're not holding anything. The version of you inside the glass is smiling, wider than you ever have. And behind that you, the shadow finally moves. The ticking starts faint at first. A clock numb, a metronome. Click, click, click. A rhythm not of time, but of memory measured, forced, rehearsed. You recognize it from interrogation rooms, from trauma interviews, from the tapes you never listened to twice. Click, click. The sound is coming from the chest. You flip it open again. Everything inside is gone, except the metronome, old-fashioned, brass arm, cracked wooden base, still working, still measuring your lies, and next to it, a single photograph, fresh, glossy, unfolded, a body, face down, in this storage unit, with your flashlight lying next to the corpse, the timestamp, tomorrow, 2:13 a.m. You check your watch, 2:07 a.m. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You scream for help now, but even the echo betrays you. It doesn't bounce back. It's swallowed, eaten, like the hallway is gone, like the door's never been there. You clutch your head and try to steady your thoughts. But the worst part, you're not afraid of dying. You're afraid of what you've already done and can't remember. The metronome stops, but the clicking doesn't. It's coming from inside the mirror now. You reach for the mirror because what else is there to do when the only way out feels like the way back in? Your fingers hover just inches from the glass, and for the first time, you notice your reflection isn't breathing. Not slower, not different, not at all. The chest doesn't rise, the eyes don't blink, and that smile, it's still there, still fixed, like it knows something you don't, or worse, like it remembers something you've tried to forget, and then it moves, not a twitch, a full step forward, through the reflection, like the mirror was never a barrier, only a suggestion. You stumble back, tripping over the corner of the rug that hadn't been there a moment ago. You catch yourself, palms burning from concrete, knees scraped. But it's enough. Enough to knock the flashlight from your hand. The beam rolls, flickering wildly, until it lands on something tucked into the edge of the metal shelving. A photograph. Another one. But this one isn't glossy. It's curled at the corners, aged, and the face staring up from it. Yours, but younger. You're sitting on a swing. A man behind you, mid-push, blurry. You don't recognize the playground or the man, but the handwriting on the back is unmistakable. You said you'd never forget. So why did you? You're shaking now, not from fear, but from recognition. There's something below the memory, something sticky, something buried. It was never about the truth. It was about control. That voice doesn't belong to you. It echoes in your skull like it lives there. You stagger to your feet, backing into the far wall where rust meets concrete. You slide down, trying to slow your thoughts, center your breathing. That's when you feel the indentation in the wall behind you. It's subtle, a soft concavity, like a panel. You press, it clicks. The mirror flickers like a screen catching static, and suddenly, it's not a mirror at all. It's a window, a surveillance feed. You see yourself from above, still sitting, still holding the photograph. The timestamp says live. In the top right, a number begins counting down 00:09:58. You blink, you stand, you pace the room. You're being watched, but from where? And why does the number feel like a verdict? You pound on the walls now, desperate for sound, but all you get is that metronome again, somehow wound back up, its pendulum ticking faster now. Click, 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 click. Time is unraveling. You notice the photograph has changed again. Same image. But now, you're gone from it. Only the man behind the swing remains, his face no longer blurry. You know that face now. It's not a stranger. It's the man from the trial, the one who walked free, the one you let walk free, the one you lied for, because the truth would have burned you both. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You scream into the void now, his name, your name, anyone's name, but it's too late for names. too late for innocence. The screen buzzes. Countdown 000317. You realize what the mirror nor the feed is tracking. It's not showing a death, it's showing a choice, one you're about to make. Again. And this time, no one's watching, which means no one's stopping you either. You don't remember walking, but you're standing now face to face with the glass. Only it isn't glass, not anymore. It shimmers like heat above pavement, a warping membrane between this moment and the next. The countdown continues in your periphery. 0316, 03115, and for the first time, you don't flinch, because clarity is a razor, and it's finally slicing through. There was a deal, not one made in a courtroom or a confession booth, but in whispers and glances and unsigned notes slid under doors. You gave the man in the photograph something he wanted: freedom. In return, he took something from you: her name, her voice, her reason. You were never just the witness. You were the guarantee. The ticking behind the wall accelerates. Not the metronome now, something mechanical. A gear struggling against time. A device winding toward an irreversible outcome. You reach out, fingertips grazing the surface. And that's when the mirror breathes. It exhales a thin mist, cool and clinical, like air conditioning in a locked psych ward. Beneath the fog, new images flicker to life security footage, spliced and time-stamped. One clip shows the body being found. The second shows you, from years ago, standing just outside the alley where she bled out. You knew, but pretended you didn't. A third clip, the trial. You on the stand, the way you paused before saying his name, the half-second of hesitation that sealed her silence forever. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Your reflection begins to fracture vertical lines spidering across your face like someone dragging a diamond-tipped stylus across a lie. And behind you, a voice. You left the truth in that room. And now, you have to live there. You spin. The room's no longer empty. A woman stands near the shelving. Same height, same posture, same scar above the lip. Her eyes are yours, but colder, older, sharper. You're not real, you whisper. She tilts her head. Neither is this, she says, gesturing around the space. The timer clicks down. So 01, 12. You ask the question anyway. Why did we let him go? She walks toward you. The photograph from the swing set now clutched in her hand. We didn't. We just never stopped him. You want to run, but the mirror is pulsing now. Heartbeat heavy, like it's trying to draw you through. You touch the frame. It's warm. You step forward, and the room folds. Not spins, folds, like paper burned at the edges, curling inward toward a secret. Suddenly you're outside, streetlights flickering, the scent of rain, your shoes soaked. Someone's footsteps echo behind yours, familiar, menacing, steady. This is the night she died. But you're not replaying it. You're being offered a chance, not to change the outcome, to understand it. Tick, tick, tick. You know now the body was a message. The silence was an answer. And the confession they found, it wasn't yours. It was hers, written in blood, folded under her tongue, never opened. Because you never looked. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You're out of time. And the mirror, it no longer shows you. Just the girl, still swinging, still waiting, still silent. The street is too quiet. You stand in the place where the crime began, though no one called it a crime back then. Just a tragic accident. A misstep. A girl out too late, in the wrong part of town, at the wrong time. That's what the headline said. But you know better now. You always knew. You don't belong here, says a voice behind you. You don't turn around. Not yet. You stare instead at the puddle where the blood had once pooled. It's dry now. Only a faint rust-colored stain in the concrete cracks. But your mind paints it fresh, dark, sticky, accusing. A wind chime rattles above a boarded window, a symbol of peace in a place that never had any. When you finally turn, it's not the girl you expect to see. It's him, the man from the trial, the one whose alibi held for a while, the one who smiled too easily, who cried too loudly when the verdict came down. Not guilty, but justice wasn't the same as innocence. He steps out of the shadows, cigarette lit, smoke curling like secrets. You following me? He asks. Your voice feels like glass. I think I've been following you for years. He grins. That's funny. I thought you were the one leading me here. There's no gun, no knife, but this doesn't feel safe. He reaches into his coat, pulls out something small, a key. He tosses it at your feet. What's that for, you ask? For the locker where you left the truth. The clock ticks behind your ribs. A memory surfaces, a locker at the train station, years ago. Inside it, the blood-stained glove, the one she wore, the one that never made it into evidence. You lied about that. You said it was never found. You knew, but pretended you didn't. He walks closer now. Tell me something, he says. Did you really think silence was safer than the truth? You step back, but your heel hits something metal, a swing, long rusted. It creaks, and suddenly you remember the photograph, the missing one, the girl in midair, her shadow twisted, her smile wrong. He kneels beside the swing and draws something in the dirt with his finger, a spiral, one you've seen before on her notebook, in her journal, in the center of her doodles. It meant something. Everyone lies, he says, especially the quiet ones. You kneel, too. Trace your own spiral into the dirt, smaller, tighter. You stare into it until you feel the pressure return behind your eyes, like something's waking up. I didn't kill her, he says, but he says it like it's a dare, and suddenly you realize he didn't have to. He just pointed the silence in the right direction and let it do the work for him. The clock in your head is counting down again. 0031. You ask, why did she trust you? He shrugs. Why did you? You want to scream. You want to run. You want to go back and pull her out of that swing, out of that alley, out of that photograph. But time doesn't rewind. It folds. And when it folds, it hides things in the crease, like the final frame of a film reel, or a name never said aloud. The man walks away, humming something you can't quite place, but the melody scratches at the inside of your mind like a match against stone. When he's gone, you stare at the swing. There, beneath it, half buried in the dirt, the missing glove. You pick it up. It's cold, smells like ash and perfume, and a truth you weren't ready to carry. You hold it against your chest, and the spiral in the dirt begins to shift. Not drawn this time, alive. The glove feels like it's breathing. You don't want to believe that. It's cloth and thread and blood that dried a long time ago. But something in your palm pulses faintly, as if the secrets woven into it never stopped whispering. You stuff it into your coat pocket before anyone sees, before the moment can turn you inside out. You walk, fast, but the street doesn't seem to end. It loops. The swing creaks behind you again. You don't look back. The spiral in the dirt is still there when the wind starts to rise, just enough to scatter dust, but not enough to erase what was carved. You make it to the train station. It's late. Barely anyone inside. Just a janitor, half asleep with his headphones on, and a woman clutching a newspaper that hasn't moved in half an hour. You slip through the turnstiles like a ghost. Locker 214. That number shouldn't still live in your head, but you never forgot it. You forgot the girl's birthday. You forgot the name of the lead detective, but you never forgot that number. The key slides in with no resistance. Click. The door swings open. Dust billows out like a sigh held too long. And there it is. The box. A wooden one. Carved. Handcrafted. You remember thinking it looked out of place among the metal and rust. Inside it, a note you left to yourself. Not written in pen. Photographic paper. A print. Black and white. Of her face. But it's not the face they showed in court. Not the smiling school portrait. This one is mid-motion. She's falling. Or flying. You can't tell. But her eyes know something you never admitted. Behind her, just out of focus, a figure. Not him, not you, someone else. Someone with a mirror in their hands. It takes you a minute to realize why that matters. Because the photograph you hid wasn't taken by accident. It was taken by her. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The second photograph, still inside the box, folded, shows the mirror turned toward the camera, and in its warped reflection, your silhouette. You stagger back, eyes wide, chest tight. It was never about the truth. It was about control. Someone wanted that box hidden. Someone wanted her memory wiped down, her story rewritten. You didn't just lie. You participated. The echo of the swing still haunts your ears. You look again at the photograph. Closer. There's something scratched into the corner. Tiny initials. L. S. Not hers. Not his. Someone else entirely. You try to think. Who else was there that night? The sound of footsteps behind you draws your focus. Not the janitor. Not the woman. A girl. Thin. Hood up. Sneakers scuffed. A faded charm bracelet rattles around her wrist. She pauses just at the edge of the locker row. Looks at you. Says nothing. You want to speak, but your voice is gone. She pulls out a cassette recorder, holds it up, presses play, and her voice comes through. It's warped, distant, but the words are unmistakable. If I disappear, don't believe the confession. Don't believe the silence. Look for what they buried. Your knees go weak, because that wasn't in the original case file, and that wasn't in your testimony. You reach for the recorder, but the girl is already walking. She leaves the station through the opposite door. The cassette stops. Click. The silence screams louder than anything else ever could. In your pocket. The glove warms again. Not with heat, but memory. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You stare at the locker. You don't close it. You let the door hang open like a wound. Then you walk out into the night with the photograph clenched tight in your fist. You've become the reason, and the only one who can undo it. You take the long way home, not because it's safer, but because it's what you used to do. Back when you still believed detours could buy you time, before the truth started catching up. The wind smells like burned leaves and cheap detergent. Your fingers twitch around the photo like it's a detonator. Every shadow stretches too far. You pass the corner store, the one that used to sell disposable cameras and off-brand cola. It's boarded up now, spray painted across the planks. We don't forget. The words feel directed at you, in your pocket. The photograph crumples just slightly, the crease pressing into your palm like a reminder. You remember the bracelet, not the girl's face, but the jingle of her wrist. You've heard it before. A long time ago, when they brought in witnesses, back when the case still had oxygen. She wasn't in the official report, but you remember her. She was there, sitting in the hallway outside interrogation. No one knew what she'd seen. No one thought she mattered, but she never stopped watching. A key slips from your coat pocket and hits the sidewalk. You don't recognize it, not immediately, but the number etched into the side, 32C, an old file cabinet in the precinct archives, one that was supposed to be destroyed. You grip it tight. The sound of a train echoes in the distance, one you're not going to take. You turn around, head back downtown, toward the station, toward the city's guts, where secrets rot and no one asks questions unless they're trying to die early. You reach the precinct just before midnight. The lobby lights are out, but the back entrance still hums with electricity. A security panel, your ID card long deactivated, but you never really needed it. You've always had the alarm code memorized. It buzzes green, down the stairwell, into the basement. The file room door creaks like it's been waiting to confess. Rows of steel drawers, cold, forgotten. You trace your fingers across the handles until you find it. 32C. You slide the key in. It hesitates, then turns. Inside a thin case folder, pale blue, labeled in faint pencil, secondary witness audio, janitorial, L.S. You open it slowly. Tapes, 3 of them, each with her name scratched off and replaced with a series of numbers. You play the first one on the portable deck, stored next to the files. Static. Then a voice. Not hers. Yours. You're giving orders. Just redact the side statements. She was too young. No jury would... Click. Tape 2. Keep her off the record. We don't need a narrative collapse. Click. You weren't the detective on the case. You weren't even supposed to be in the room, but you were. You inserted yourself like a scalpel. Quiet, efficient, and buried the parts that didn't line up. The parts that might have proven someone else was there. The final tape starts without warning. It's her, the girl. Same voice as the cassette recorder. But this time, she's not warning anyone. She's accusing. I saw him, not the one they arrested. The other one. He smiled at me before he closed the door. And the sound. The sound was, you press pause. The gloves in your pocket feel heavier now. You know why. Because she saw you. Not just the crime. She saw the cover-up. And she's been waiting for this moment. For the narrative to crack. For the photograph to surface. For the glove to breathe. It was never about justice. It was about delay. The longer you could delay the truth, the less it hurt. Until it came back with a face and a bracelet and a voice you couldn't drown. You take the tapes, slip them into your coat, leave the drawer open, because maybe this time someone else will come looking. As you exit the precinct, you catch your reflection in the one-way mirror, but something is wrong. It's not your reflection. It's hers, smiling for just a second. Then it's gone, and all you're left with is a warped image and the echo of a truth you thought you'd buried for good. It was never about the truth. It was about control, and control is slipping through your fingers faster than the wind can catch it. The tapes burn a hole in your pocket. Not literally, but close enough. You can feel the weight of them pressing against your ribs with every step, like tiny time bombs counting down to the moment your story detonates. The subway is quieter than usual. A Sunday lull, maybe. Or maybe the city knows what you're carrying. Maybe it's holding its breath too. You take a seat at the far end of the platform, away from the cameras, away from the headlines already writing themselves in your mind. Across the tracks, an ad blinks to life. Some secrets belong in silence. You don't laugh. You stare. Because the phrase isn't part of the usual rotation. And because someone knows. A gloved hand enters your peripheral vision, just someone lighting a cigarette. But for a second, you're back in that hallway, in that interrogation room, replaying her words. He smiled at me before he closed the door, and you realize it wasn't just a smile. It was a signal. The train screams in from the tunnel. Its lights slice through the platform like judgment. You don't board, you just watch. Its windows flicker with faces that don't know what you've done or worse, do. Once it's gone, the platform empties. You're alone again, except for the ticking. You didn't hear it before, but now you do. A slow, rhythmic click, click, click from beneath the bench. You crouch. There it is, a pocket watch. Old, gold-plated, engraved on the inside cover. Time tells the truth. You don't touch it, just stare. Because this isn't a coincidence. This was placed like a warning or a promise. You scan the platform. Nothing but shadow and tile. You take the stairs up and out into the wind. You head toward the library, not for books, for the archives, the public records. Because if they buried her testimony in the precinct files, what else was rewritten? You arrive after hours. That's fine. Locks never stopped you. Inside, the fluorescent lights flicker. You navigate the basement by memory. Third row, left aisle, bottom drawer, case Marwar 1196A. The original crime scene photos. No redactions, no edits. You pull the first one. Bloodstain. Clock on the wall. 10:47 p.m. You pull another. Window half open. Rain on the sill. Same time stamp. But on the last photo, the mirror shows something else. A second figure. Small. Barely noticeable. But there, in the corner, just before the shutter clicked, you stare. Because it's her. The girl. Not running. Not crying. Smiling. As if she knew this moment would come. As if she posed for it. You grab the photo. Compare it to the others. No one mentioned a second person in the room. Not even you. And now you're not sure if she was there, or if you're being made to remember something that never happened, or something you chose to forget. What if you've been the suspect all along? You close the folder, but not before slipping the photo into your pocket. It joins the tapes, the key, the glove, the clock, a trail of evidence that leads nowhere and everywhere. You step out into the night. It's raining again. Same rhythm, same cold, except now you notice something else. A black car parked across the street, same one that was outside your building earlier. No movement, just presence. You don't confront it, not yet, because it's not here to chase you. It's here to see what you'll do next. And you already know what that is. You're going back to the house, the one from the original crime scene, the one she died in, or at least was supposed to. The road there is long, empty. Your breath fogs the window as headlights slice through fog and memory. When you reach the house, it's just as you remember it, untouched, but not abandoned. The porch light is on, and the door is slightly open. You grip the photo tighter. You knew, but pretended you didn't. That was your first mistake. Now you're walking into a trap you built yourself. The door creaks like it's been waiting to confess something. You step inside, each footfall swallowed by the musty hush of a house that hasn't been empty, not really. Dust lies undisturbed across the floor, yet there are footprints. Yours and someone else's, smaller, barefoot. They circle the hallway, disappear into the living room, reappear by the stairs. The house exhales, wood settles, or whispers. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You flick on your flashlight. It glides across the wallpaper, yellowed with age, curling at the corners like it's trying to peel itself away from whatever memory is soaked beneath. The photograph in your pocket suddenly feels like it's pulsing. You pull it out. The girl, smiling in the mirror. You scan the room, now look for the mirror in the photo. There it is. Same frame, same crack in the upper left, same location, only this time no reflection, not yours, not hers. The mirror doesn't work, or refuses to. You reach for it anyway, run your fingers along the glass, and that's when you hear it. Laughter, not loud, not joyful, something softer, measured, coming from the second floor. You freeze. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. The stairs moan under your weight. Each step feels like a test of your resolve. At the top, the hallway is darker than it should be, like the shadows have multiplied, bred in your absence. You follow the sound, third door on the right, the nursery. Your flashlight flickers. You step inside. The mobile still hangs above the crib. Plastic moons and stars turning slowly. Though the air is still, there's no baby. Just the scent of lavender and something underneath it. Decay. Memory. On the wall, children's drawings, stick figures, smiley faces. One picture stands out. A red crayon silhouette of a tall figure with long arms and no face. You stare. You've seen this before. Not here. In the precinct, scrawled on a case file from a different victim. A different girl, but the same figure. The smiling absence. Your breath shortens. You turn to leave and stop. On the back of the door, words written in a child's handwriting. He watched me sleep. He said, silence was safer. You back out of the room. Every instinct tells you to run, but something tells you that's the mistake they want you to make. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You descend the stairs slowly. Halfway down, you hear the front door click shut. Someone's inside with you. You drop low, turn off the flashlight. The darkness feels welcoming now. You move silently across the floor, guided by memory and tension, to the study, where it began, the place where the body was found. You ease the door open. The room is empty visibly, but your skin crawls. The fireplace is clean now. The chalk outline on the floor is gone, but on the wall a new photograph, pinned where the clock once was. It's of you, tonight, walking up the porch steps, taken from inside. Your stomach turns. Behind you, floorboards creak. You spin, flashlight back on, and there she is, the girl, standing in the same place her body was found. Alive, older now, but unmistakable. She smiles, not kindly. She raises a tape recorder and presses play. Your voice. A recording from one of your interrogations. You say something you don't remember saying. Maybe she was never supposed to die. Maybe she was just supposed to disappear. You look at her. You're not real. She tilts her head. Neither are you. The light bulb overhead flickers violently. The room begins to distort. Walls warping. Angles wrong. You fall backward into the hallway, hitting the floor hard. The photograph flutters from your pocket. She steps out after you, calm, barefoot. Her eyes don't blink. You came looking for truth, she says, but you only brought guilt. And then she's gone. The hallway is empty, but something is in your hand now. A key, not from this house, but from the evidence locker. You never signed it out, yet here it is. Brass, heavy, numbered 47A, locker 47. You sit up. The house is still again. But you're not. Because now you know where this leads. Back to the station. Back to the one place the truth was too dangerous to keep. Back to where you started lying to yourself most of all. The precinct is quieter at night, but it never sleeps. You park on the far end of the lot where the cameras don't reach, where the gravel crunches too loudly and the shadows stretch just a little too long. You used to feel safer here. Now the silence feels rehearsed. Inside, the halls are washed in flickering fluorescence. The hum of overhead lights buzzes against your skull, agitating something beneath your thoughts, like a memory trying to claw its way out. You pass empty desks, familiar chairs, a bulletin board littered with old photos and case updates. One of them catches your eye, the red crayon drawing. Somehow, it's pinned up again, right where you tore it down last week. You move on, locker room, left turn, third door. The key is already warm in your pocket, like it knows. You slide it into locker 47A. It resists, then clicks. Inside only one thing, a cassette tape. No label. You stare. This isn't procedure. You didn't log it. You didn't record it. But your name is etched into the metal cassette like a warning. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You pocket it and close the locker. Too fast. The echo bangs off the tile like a gunshot. Someone clears their throat. You spin. No one. But something feels moved. You head toward the evidence room. The walls seem tighter than before, as if the station has grown smaller around you. You swipe your badge. The red light turns green, reluctantly. Inside, the evidence is sealed in plastic bagged, tagged, and sterilized. Truth in cold storage. You pull open the drawer marked Case 174, the girl from the house. The original one. The one that bled into everything after. Her belongings, a doll's head, a journal, a single ballet slipper, and a page torn from the middle of a book. You recognize the handwriting. Yours. It's a confession, but not one you ever wrote. At least, not on paper. I saw what happened. I heard her last word. I chose silence. You stagger back. The room spins. A security camera in the corner tilts slightly. Following you, everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You pull the tape from your pocket, slide it into the player on the desk. Click. Static. Then a voice. Yours. Breathless. Shaky. I didn't mean to. It was supposed to scare her. Not. A pause. Then her voice. The girl. Then why did you come back? You stop the tape. Your hands tremble. You're not remembering this. You're uncovering it. The door creaks. You turn. Slowly. It's your partner. Rourke. Only older than he should be. Or maybe you've been looking at him wrong all along. He closes the door behind him. You open the wrong locker. You hold his gaze. You gave me the key. He smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. Did I? You both stand there, suspended in the hum of overhead lights and unresolved guilt. It was never about the truth, he says. It was about control. And that's when you remember the phrase from the wall. He said silence was safer. It wasn't about the girl. It was about the witness. You back toward the desk, hand brushing the intercom switch. You're going to try to erase me. He tilts his head. No, I don't have to. You've been doing that all by yourself. You slam your hand on the button. The room goes black. Lights cut. And in that moment of blindness, you hear it again. Laughter. Soft. Measured. Then the cassette spits itself out. Burnt. Melted. Irrecoverable. When the lights return, you're alone again. The tape is gone. The evidence drawer now empty. The red crayon drawing has replaced your badge on your chest. You don't remember putting it there, but it's there. A reminder. The body was never the point. The reason it's what kills you slowly, and it's still missing. You wake up in your car, engine off, windows fogged, but you don't remember falling asleep. There's a faint smear on the inside of the windshield, like a handprint dragged in panic. Not yours. The cassette is gone. So is your badge. Your phone is dead. No signal. No clock. Even the dashboard's digital display blinks with nonsense characters, as if time itself scrambled in protest. You open the glove box. A single object sits inside a chess piece. The Black Queen. You pick it up slowly. Cold, smooth, weighted like a promise. She's back in play. The precinct looks different now. Same walls, but the paint feels fresher, somehow too fresh, like someone covered something up. You pass the holding cells. One is lit. Inside, a girl. The same girl. The one from the photograph. The one from the evidence drawer. She looks younger now. Hair pinned back neatly. Blue dress. Bare feet. She doesn't blink. She mouths something silently. You step closer. The word is checkmate, but you still don't know who's winning. Behind you, the hallway mirror, never supposed to be there, reflects a version of you that's smiling, and that's when it cracks. A spiderweb fracture across your reflection's face. Cracked mirror, cruel broken truth. You touch your real cheek. It stings. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Her voice again, but this time, it comes from behind you. You turn fast. No one. But the cell is open now. She's gone. In her place, a small note taped to the wall. Play your next move carefully. It's in your handwriting, and it's dated 5 days from now. The Black Queen in your hand starts to warm. You drop it, but it doesn't hit the ground. It vanishes before it lands. The ticking returns. You follow the sound, down the stairwell, into the archives, where old cases rot beneath layers of mold, misfiling, and denial. Case 174 is there, but now the victim's nameplate has been replaced with yours, your full name, your date of birth, under cause of death. It just says unresolved. You stare at it for too long. The edges of the folder curl inward, like they are trying to close before you're done. There's a photograph clipped to the inside. You and the girl, only. She's standing behind you, hand on your shoulder. You never posed for that. You never saw the camera. On the back, scrawled in crayon, we all play dead eventually. Paranoia takes over. You tear open the surrounding boxes, old cases, new names, same handwriting, same chess piece tucked in the margins. She's been rewriting everything. You slam the drawer shut, and something groans in the dark. A rusted metal door creaks open at the far end of the corridor. You move toward it like a sleepwalker. Inside a room with no ceiling, just darkness above, and a single interrogation table in the center. One chair, one tape recorder, one file marked confession. Yours. You sit. Press play. The voice is hers. You played the whole game, pretending to be the detective. She whispers, but you forgot you were on trial too. Then silence. You reach for the folder. Inside, the same statement, repeated 10 times. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You look up. She's sitting across from you now. No chair, no sound, just watching. And behind her, a mirror, cracked down the center. Your reflection no longer matches. You're not sure it ever did. The walls are closer now. You didn't notice it at first, but the room is shrinking. Or maybe you're expanding. Claustrophobia tightens around your chest like a memory you didn't ask to relive. The chair beneath you groans. The mirror behind her breathes. That's the only word you can find for it. Breathing, expanding, contracting. The reflection moves again, but not like a mirror, more like a delay, a replay of something you haven't done yet. She stands. Her hands never touch the table, but the chess piece, the Black Queen, appears there anyway. This time, it's cracked, not broken, just imperfect, like a false confession. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. She says it slowly, deliberately, like a ritual. You glance at the file again. It's changed. Now it says, witness statement redacted. But you're not the witness. Not anymore. She gestures to the recorder. Play it again, she says. You hesitate. Play it again. You do. But it's not her voice this time. It's yours. Softer, unsteady, as if you're talking in your sleep. I didn't see the signs. I didn't see her. She was already rewriting me. A pause. Then, the photograph, check the photograph. Something's missing. You dig into the file. Pull it out. Same image. You and her. But there's a gap behind you now. A silhouette shape, cut out with jagged scissors. Not her. Someone else stood behind you both. Someone deliberately erased. You turn back toward her. But she's gone. The room is empty again. Except there's a single glove on the table now. Black leather. Left-handed. You recognize it. It belonged to the first victim. The real first victim. The one who never made the report. The one whose body was never found. You hold the glove to your face. It smells of ash and wintergreen. The same scent that used to fill the DA's office after hours. A scent you buried with your doubt. You flash to the courtroom. A gavel. A grin. A lie no one challenged. She knew what she was doing. The walls continue closing in. Not physically, but perceptually. Your focus narrows. The air thickens. The photograph. The glove. The voice. Nothing is evidence anymore. Everything is invitation. You hear the ticking again, louder this time. You follow it through the flickering corridor's lights, strobing with each second. At the end, another mirror, bigger, floor to ceiling. This time, it shows your apartment, except you're not in it. She is, standing by the window, holding the Black Queen, watching the street below, waiting. Your reflection moves without you, turns, looks you in the eye, and says, you missed the moment she decided to become dangerous. You whisper, no, but your reflection smiles. You missed it twice. The ticking stops, and the mirror shatters from the inside. You blink and find yourself alone again. The sound of shattering glass still echoes in your bones, not in the room, but in your mind. Like a bell rung in a dream you can't wake from. You check your hands. Blood. No, just dust. Mirror dust, as fine as regret. You rub your fingers together, and it feels like counting seconds you can't get back. You remember something she said. Control the story, and you control the outcome. But whose story is this now? Not yours, not hers. Someone else is pulling the strings, and you're starting to wonder if you were ever more than just a marionette in a tailored suit. The phone rings, an old landline, not yours. Still, you answer. No voice on the other end, just a sound. Tick, tick, tick. You slam the phone down. You should walk away. You should get in your car, turn the key, drive toward whatever sunlight remains. Instead, you go back to the board, back to the file, back to the photograph, and then it hits you. Not what's missing, but what's repeated. There are two gloves now in the file's evidence log. Same item, entered twice, same serial, same exhibit number, twice, like someone wanted it to be seen, wanted the loop to never end. You pull out the drawer of the desk, inside the second glove, pristine. That means the one left on the table was planted. By her, by you, by someone else. You don't know anymore. You knew, but pretended you didn't. That phrase, again, it lingers, like a secret kept too long. And like all secrets, it wants out. You return to your apartment. You freeze on the threshold. The light is on. You never leave it on. The air smells of wintergreen and something else, gun oil. There's music playing inside. Old jazz, the kind you used to slow dance to before things fell apart. She's there, seated at the window, holding the photo. Only now, the photo has 3 people in it. You, her, and the one in the middle, face blurred like smeared ink on cheap paper. Your voice fails you. What is this? She doesn't look up. You really don't remember. The glove is on her hand now, fits her perfectly. She turns. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. And then she whispers something that shouldn't be possible. A name, your name, as if it doesn't belong to you anymore. The ticking starts again. You don't know where it's coming from, but it's getting louder. You ask, "What's going on?" And she smiles. Isn't it obvious? And then she hands you the queen, cracked, just like you. You stare at the queen in your hand, porcelain, splintered. Its face is chipped, eyes gone just sockets, like it's seen too much and said too little. Like you set it on the table between you. It wobbles slightly before settling upright, a broken monument to the moment everything shifted. You remember now, don't you? She asks, voice softer than you expected, almost kind, almost. But that's the trick with kindness, isn't it? You nod, but not in agreement. It's just a reflex. Your mind's trying to swim up through molasses-thick memories. You knew her long before the file, before the photograph, before the body they found face down in the quarry with no ID and no motive. You weren't just investigating her. You were protecting her. No, not quite. You were hiding her. It wasn't supposed to end like this, you say, but your voice breaks on the final word. A confession without the paperwork. She stands slowly, not threatening, not retreating, just circling you like she always did. In the courtroom, in the bar, in the motel hallway that night, you swore was a mistake. And maybe it was. Or maybe it was an origin story, written in sweat and denial. I kept your secret, you whisper, finally admitting the thing that's been burning in your lungs since Section 4. She holds your stare. That's the problem. Ticking. Again. That goddamn sound. You realize it's not a bomb. It's a metronome, coming from the box on the table. A small wooden box, the kind used in interrogation training. Only this one's been used in something far more personal. She opens it. Inside a flash drive, a chess piece, a strip of film. The last time you saw a strip like that, it was buried in the lining of a coat you burned in an alley behind a jazz club. The club where they found the bartender with her tongue cut out and the same broken queen tucked inside her apron. She pushes the box toward you. This is everything, she says. Your past, your present, and the reason you'll never make it to the future. You try to speak, but the words are wet cement. What's on the drive you manage? She shrugs. The real confession, not the fake one they pinned on me, not the clean one you forged, the one that names names, yours, mine, his. You don't ask who he is. You don't want to know. But she says it anyway. The third person in the photo. You feel your knees begin to lock, your hands tremble. Who took it, you whisper. I don't know. She lies, and you realize you're not scared of her. You're scared of what you'll do to keep the lie alive. It was never about the truth. She says it was about control. And suddenly, the room is too quiet. You don't hear the ticking anymore because it stopped. Why give me this, you ask, gesturing to the box. She smiles, but it's the kind of smile that tastes like a trap because it's checkmate. And I wanted you to feel it. You don't pick up the box right away. Instead, you stare at it like it's breathing, like it might blink, like it might whisper your name with a different inflection, one only your nightmares recognize. She's not watching you anymore. She's watching the door, like she's waiting for someone else to walk in. Someone you both know, someone you both fear, someone who knows what that drive holds and what you're willing to do to keep it buried. You wonder if that someone is already here. You wonder if it's you. You slide the box closer, slow like a ritual. The chess piece, the queen, isn't the same as before. It's intact. No cracks, no chips, whole, fresh. That's not possible. You shattered the queen in section 7. You held its broken face in your hand. You feel the heat in your spine, the paranoia twisting tight like a noose made of questions. You replaced it. You say, not asking. She gives you nothing, and it hits you. Everything's been replaced. The voice on the tape, the timeline on the security footage, the coroner's report, the witness, the victim, you. What if I'm not who I think I am? You ask out loud, too loud, voice foreign. Then stop thinking, she replies, almost gently. Start remembering. She reaches into her coat. You flinch, but it's not a weapon. It's a photograph, the same photograph from section 4. Only this time, you're looking straight at the main enterprise. There's blood on your collar. There's no denying it now. You took this. You murmur? No, she says. He did. And that's when the back door creaks open. Footsteps. Slow, calculated, heavy. You turn, but see nothing. You don't need to. You know the rhythm of those steps. You've heard them behind you before in your dreams, in stairwells, on wet pavement under yellow streetlights. The figure emerges from the shadow. A man, no face, just the outline of something too familiar to be anything but damning. He places a single item on the table, a matchbox, the kind from the jazz club. He nods to the box in front of you. Burn it. What's on the drive, you ask again. You already know. The man says, it's your story, written by everyone you betrayed. You close your eyes. You can feel the flick of the match before it's even struck. She leans in one last time, her breath on your cheek. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You stare at the match in your hand, and you make your choice. Final wind and down. Rain begins to fall, not on the window panes around you, but inside your memory. A slow, soft static. Not loud, just enough to wash the sharpest edges clean. Somewhere in that room, a flame flickered, or didn't. You burned the evidence. Or maybe you pocketed it. Or maybe the drive never existed at all, just another fiction, layered into the maze of motives and half-true confessions. That's the trick of justice, isn't it? Everyone thinks it's a straight line, but you've walked the alleys, you've followed the cracks, and you've seen what grows in the dark when no one is watching. Truth, lies, control, all interchangeable when fear writes the rules. You open your eyes, or maybe you never closed them. The photograph is gone. The queen is gone. The room is empty again, except for the question still echoing in your bones. Were you the one who uncovered the secret, or the one who buried it best? The storm outside fades into a soft hum, the kind that lulls, not alarms, the kind that tells your nerves to rest for now, because the door behind you stays unlocked and footsteps never truly vanish, not when you've invited them in. End of script. Sleep well and watch your back.